Hey, it's Game Hydro. Somebody asked us to do a breakdown on Chapter 38, which is the second iteration of the Otaku Virus, with Chapter 26 being the first iteration of the Otaku Virus. Now, I'm currently on Chapter 44, so slight bit of a strength boost, so we're going to do Chapter 38 on hard mode in order to make it more difficult. Now, Chapter 38 on hard mode has a recommended power of 13,060, and my power level is currently 15,035. But if you've been playing this game for a while, you tend to realize that the recommended power levels in this game are kind of like the points on whose line is it anyway. The recommendations are made up and the power level doesn't matter. You could beat a level with double the recommended power level, or you could get consistently owned on a level with half the recommended power level as what you have. Lots of you had that happen on Chapter 22 and Chapter 40. So, while Chapter 38, in my opinion, is not quite as tough as Chapter 22 and 40 for the time periods that you play them, it's pretty tough. So, checking out the Heartlet, we're going to go into this with 10 and max level attack. That's level 10, that is, for Heartlet rank 10. And then level 0 for crit, level 2 for cooldown. And then tabbing over to the equipped weapons, this is what we're running. We got capsule, tadpole, sterile swab, small medical tower, acupuncture, disinfectant bubble, satellite storm, and spinning dagger. Now, on this one, the small medical tower, the spinning dagger, and the disinfectant bubble are the most important. The sterile swab is also very important. The satellite storm is not a necessity, but it definitely helps. The acupuncture, decent. The tadpole, decent. Now, these are the skills I'm not using down here. These skills generally either fare better in levels where you're at the bottom of the screen, or they just kind of suck, like the defibrillator. So, without further ado, let's get into the Otaku Virus. Let's show you how to beat version 2 of the Otaku Virus. Yep, this level is absolutely infuriating. This is about the 7th time playing this on hard. The power level is pretty high compared to some of the other ones, but obviously the first one we got to go to out of that batch was the daggers. Refresh there. Heart of Ice is actually a pretty good orange skill to have. It slows down the virus, and having it slow down this early on, pretty nice. Disinfectant bubble next. I was trying to get the medical tower. Didn't exactly work out as intended, but that's okay. There's the medical tower. There we go. And there, out of these two, high frequency ray, that's the one we're going to go with because it's a little more rare. That doesn't show up as often. Damage boosts show up pretty frequently for this turd. All right. So, we're just kind of go through the early portions of it, collect the chests that we can. Now, obviously, silver chests contain upgrades to skills and weapons that you already have. Gold chests contain the new weapons. Now, on some levels, you will occasionally find like platinum or diamond chests. They contain a choice of 3 orange upgrades to a skill that you already have. Now, those are pretty nice to find, but they are super, super rare. And generally only show up in hard or hell level. Let's go. Critical boost there for the bubbles. The bubbles are, due to the shape that this virus takes, the bubbles have kind of an outsized good effect on it. So I'm going to try to keep those upgraded. And the medical tower is pretty much just always good. So I want the medical tower to be shooting out as many lasers as possible, because multiple lasers running over each other will do multiples of the damage to the same segment of the virus. So if you got 3 lasers that are on top of each other, they'll do triple the damage of 1 laser. All right. Keep it going. Now this virus is slow moving and takes absolutely forever to get where it's getting to. Out of these, I'm going to have to go capsule damage. Boosting the fire rate isn't super noticeable, and boosting the flight speed is potentially the single stupidest upgrade in the entire game. All right, out of those, the cotton swab, because the cotton swab does lots of sustained damage. Now we're going to pick Satellite Storm. I find this one to be occasionally pretty effective just because it gets you chests much more quickly than you would be earning otherwise. It's not a game breaker like some skills are, like, for example, the cotton swab can be sometimes, or the medical tower can be sometimes, but it's a great assistance skill, something like that. All right, boost quantity. That's what we want. Boosting quantity in the bubbles. Eventually, I want bubbles flying all over the screen. They can be super effective that way. Time increase is a really good upgrade for the cotton swab because it allows multiple cotton swabs to be sitting on the screen at the same time. And when you got multiples at the same time, they do more damage. There's another time increase. So now we might have 3 cotton swabs on screen at the same time because they're just going to sit there, loiter around forever, and do damage. Obviously, we got to pick the damage boost to the medical tower right now because we already got a really big bubble damage boost. All right, there's the size boost. This is a hugely important upgrade for the daggers, but if you are on Chapter 38, you probably know that already. The reason, obviously, is because the more of the virus that you can do damage to at the same time, the better you will fare. Now, boost quantity on the tower. That means you'll throw out 2 towers at a time instead of 1 tower, so double the amount of lasers will eventually show up. And critical rate boost, always, because that's actually a pretty good rate boost. Pretty good percentage of rate boost, whatever. Size boost, always want a size boost for the cotton swabs, especially when you get the purple 50% size boost. That can have an outsized effect because it'll allow the cotton swabs to hit more segments of the virus at a time, which added up will be much more cumulative damage. All right. First revive at 49%. Now, if you have played this game for a while, you know sometimes you just have to use revives unless you want to grind. That's just the nature of the beast. So sorry if you all wanted to see me do this with 0 revives. I can do it 0 revives easily if I play normal mode. Matter of fact, I one-shotted it the first time, but I put it to hard mode so you all can see how I did it and how to beat it when it's really, really hard. Okay, so medical tower upgrade, obviously. More medical tower upgrades, the better. And as you can see, we got an absolute flood of bubbles shooting around the stage. So when you have quantity boosts on bubbles on the first revive and the virus gets clawed back, that gives the bubbles room to bounce around without going through the virus, which is kind of nice. Boost quantity, critical boost. We're going boost quantity. All right, let's keep it going. What do we want? Damage boost. Now, well, that was a bad gamble. I guess I'll do cooldown reduction on the satellite because I try to avoid most of the capsule upgrades here. Damage boost on the medical tower, obviously we're going to go with that one because the medical tower has a lot of impact on the parts of the virus that are close to you. So it can save your bacon. All right. Looks like we're getting a lot of upgrades to the cotton swab, though. We're to the point where we can send 4 of them onto the screen at the same time. And it doesn't matter if you move around or not, because if you have 4 cotton swabs on top of each other, they're doing quadruple the damage compared to 1 cotton swab. All right. That got dicey again. We're at 29%. Let's roll. I think we can do this. All right, now obviously we're in the same situation as before. Look at all those bubbles bouncing around, though, and look at all the critical damage that the bubbles are doing. That is going to be huge for us as we continue forward through the level. What do we want here? More size boosts. Obviously, the more size boost, the better. Unless there's a better upgrade to get. Time increase. So between all the time increases, now we have them sitting on the level for 15 seconds longer than normal. And if I were moving my cursor around, I'm pretty sure we'd be seeing 5 different cotton swabs on screen at a time. Let's go critical boost because the cotton swabs are hitting a lot of area, doing a lot of cumulative damage. So that will boost the damage extra. All right. Let's keep this going. Now, how do I choose which segment of the virus to aim the cotton swab at? Typically, it will be the segment of the virus that has no lasers or less lasers sitting on it. That's how I choose to pick them, basically. Unfortunately, it looks like this bottom one's getting to me. Oh, boy. This is getting a little too close for comfort. 13% to complete, 1 revive attempt. So now we've revived. Because I'm not going to show you all the ads, I'm just going to watch them myself in sad silence, being the only one watching an ad, and then I'll clue you in on the gameplay. So by now, we've got a stupid amount of bubbles bouncing around, which is exactly what we need. We've got a very positive effect happening thanks to the cotton swab damage boosts. And now I think we're far enough along that we're kind of just finishing out the level. Ooh, double quantity boost for the med towers. So now the med tower shoots out 4 at a time when I started off at 1 at a time. That's a lot of lasers. The bottom virus, the goofy looking flower, the blushing flower is almost gone. Then we're going to aim at the original Otaku Virus, which I'm guessing is designed after a J-pop star, considering it's got that microphone on its face. I'll be honest, though, I could use one of those microphones for this channel. That would make things a lot more convenient, probably. And almost there. And we're there. That was a really, really, really freaking tough battle. So the lesson learned out of that one is the bubbles are hugely important on this level. More important than they are on some other similar levels where you're in the middle of the stage. Obviously, the medical tower is super important. Obviously, the daggers are super important. Now, the satellite really helped us out a lot on this level because the way the satellite works is it targets chests, and it really helped us get a lot of chests that we may have been blocked off from getting otherwise without a few more upgrades. So that made it a lot easier. So if you got the satellite storm, use it. All right, this is Game Hydro. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe and check out our other level videos.